I will go ahead and call this meeting of the Torrington City Council to order. Good evening and welcome. We have here with us tonight Ryan Caith. He is from KERM, KGOS. This council meeting is being broadcast live on the local radio station and also on the YouTube channel. We also have Jess Oakes here from the Torrington Telegram. Our first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I've asked Councilman Rick Patterson to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on the agenda are the mayor's informational items. Summer season has arrived, especially made plain by the beautiful weather we've been having. Torrington is a beautiful place to live. I see residents sprucing up their properties, and I see a lot of green lawns and beautiful landscaping. Thank you to all our city residents for maintaining your properties and making Torrington a nice place to live, work, and play. Please keep up with your weeds and lawns. It takes hard work, I know, but it pleases your near neighbors and the rest of us. Please keep up to avoid a visit from the city code enforcement officers. The city of Torrington provides several areas with grass clipping only dumpsters. Please do not place anything other than grass clippings into these dumpsters. This includes the plastic bags you may carry your grass clippings in. If other trash gets into these grass clippings only dumpsters, it makes the grass clippings unfit for the city composting system. Please be reminded that if you place items other than grass clippings into these dumpsters, you may be fined up to $750. Thank you for your cooperation with this. For the vast majority of city residents, the city provides dumpsters for convenient, efficient, and regular trash pickup. The dumpsters are intended to be used by city residents only. This is because they pay a fee for this service. These dumpsters are for municipal waste only. They are not for construction and demolition waste. Excessive construction and demolition waste in the dumpsters damages our garbage trucks and hurts us all. Please don't do this. Please take your construction and demolition waste to the city baler or the city landfill. Again, thank you for your cooperation with this. Dale Jones Municipal Pool opened on Saturday, June 1st. The city is blessed with a great pool maintenance crew with decades of experience. We also have an impressive pool manager, assistant manager, and a full contingent of qualified lifeguards. Please enjoy the municipal pool this summer. In addition to the municipal pool, please also enjoy our municipal golf course, voted #1 public golf course in the state. Please also enjoy our many sports fields, parks, and walking path. Thank you to all the city superintendents and crews that keep all these areas clean, beautiful, and functional. I will remind you, as always, please slow down. Please take extra care while driving. Please do not use your cell phones while driving. As school is out and summer is full upon us, there is a much increased foot traffic, bicycle and motorcycle traffic. Please take extra care so that we may all have a pleasant, safe summer season. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is approval of the consent agenda, which includes the minutes from the May 21st, 24 council meeting as published, and minutes from the May 30th, 24 public hearing as presented. That public hearing was to do with the East D project.
Mr. Mayor, I would move to approve the consent agenda.
And let me ask, is that motion containing minutes from the council meeting and from the public hearing?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Do I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Second, or a motion from Councilman Patterson, second from Councilman Deal. Is there any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval of the consent agenda as set forth here signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed signify by saying nay. Hearing no nays, the consent agenda as presented is approved. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. And gentlemen, I would entertain a motion to amend the agenda, item number 2 on the resolution. That's an incorrect amount that's listed on the agenda. That amount that's listed, $519,732, should be $400,000. So I think the best way to approach this is I would entertain a motion to amend the agenda as presented.
Mr. Mayor, I would move to amend the agenda to reflect a change for item 2.
Okay. I have a motion from Councilman Victrand to amend the agenda to reflect the change to the number 400,000 in item 2. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilman Kelly. Any further discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed signify by saying nay. Hearing no nays, the agenda is amended. I would next entertain a motion to approve the amended agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I would make that motion to approve the amended agenda.
I have a motion from Councilman Deal to approve the amended agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilman Kelly. Any further discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, I'll take a vote. All those in favor of approving the amended agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed signify by saying nay. Hearing no nays, the amended agenda is approved. Next item on the agenda is the public forum, and I always want to explain to the public what this is. This is a time on council's agenda for non-agenda items. There is a time limit of 2 minutes, and the speaker must sign up before the meeting. This is a time for the council to listen. No action will be taken. And as I observed the black box in front of Councilman Victrand, there are no requests to be signed up for this section. But I do want to let the public know that they're able to come in here and sign up and get on the agenda under public forum. Next, we'll move to the action items. First item on the agenda is item number 1, ordinance on third reading relating to the power purchase agreement with Municipal Energy Agency of Nebraska, otherwise known as MEAN. Mr. Eddington, could you read that by title, please?
It's an ordinance amending and reenacting Section 13.20.016 of the Torrington Municipal Code 2024 revisions relating to authorizing and directing execution of the amended and restated total power requirements power purchase agreement by the City of Torrington, Wyoming with the Municipal Energy Agency of Nebraska.
Thank you, Mr. Eddington. And gentlemen, this is third reading. My understanding of this is the same as it was on first and second readings. This was an updated contract that MEAN developed. It hadn't been updated for something like 40 years. It is essentially the same contract as it was before, with a slight benefit to the City of Torrington. It allows us to withdraw from the agreement after a period of 25 years, which we did not have in the previous agreement. So one can look at that as a slight benefit to the city with the updated version of the MEAN agreement. Is that pretty much correct, what I just related, Mr. Eddington?
That's accurate.
Okay. Does anybody have, Dana Utes is not here this evening, but Mr. Eddington is. Gentlemen, do you have any questions for Mr. Eddington? Or Ms. Strecker, or anyone?
Mr. Mayor, I would move to approve this ordinance on third reading.
I have a motion from Councilman Patterson to approve the ordinance on third reading set forth in item 1. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilman Kelly. Is there any further discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, I'll call for vote. All those in favor of approving the ordinance on third reading set forth in item 1 relating to the agreement with MEAN signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed signify by saying nay. Hearing no nays, that ordinance is approved on third reading. Next item on the agenda is resolution number 2024-6, authorizing submission of a capital construction loan application to the State Loan and Investment Board on behalf of the governing board for the city of Torrington in the amount of $400,000. And for that, I would call on Director of Public Works Harkins.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you know, we have this East D Street Improvements Project that we're trying to get going. It's going to be replacing water lines, storm sewer, and reconstructing the street, curb gutter sidewalk in the street section itself. We've got loan applications submitted for drinking water SRF and clean water SRF. Those two parts take care of the water line replacement and the storm sewers. What we have remaining is the actual reconstruction of the street section itself. We are going to be using urban systems money. That was voted on through the committee, the Urban Systems Committee, and they agreed to allow the city of Torrington to use the funds available, which was about a little over $1 million for the street portion of East D Street. We went back and requested to borrow ahead because it's a part of the program that if you would would need additional funding, you can borrow ahead on the funding that the state gives to the county every year, which is about $116,000. So that was put to a vote, and it was agreed that the committee would allow Torrington to borrow ahead for 1 year, not the 2 years that we requested, but for 1 year. So as a result, we still have about a little over $400,000 to $500,000 that we need to make up. And as a result, we're going to go and ask the state for a capital construction loan to make up that difference. So that's where we're at.
And Mr. Harkins, I don't think a lot of people are aware, and I wasn't until I became more informed on this, that street is now asphalt and chip sealed and all that. After this project, it's going to be concrete. So it'll be a concrete street from Maverick on the highway up to 30th on East D. So the street part will be concrete.
Correct.
And can you tell us why this day and age we do concrete streets?
Well, for this project, it's mainly for the convenience of the homeowners that live on East D Street. As we come through and we're going to tear up, obviously, we're going to tear up pretty much all the street when we just do the water line replacements and the storm sewer. There's not going to be much left. So if we do the curb gutter sidewalk and the street section at the same time, we'll probably do it in 2-block increments so that those people are only inconvenienced for a short period of time instead of the whole construction period when it goes from, Highway 26 all the way up to 30th Avenue. Asphalt is really not a good product to use when you're doing such small sections. It becomes really expensive, and the paving, if you will, of the street is really hampered by being such short sections.
Thank you. And I want to, special thanks to the Urban Systems Committee for dedicating that money to this use. My understanding that this project has been in the works for approximately 15 years.
Yeah, it began in 2009 with the design.
And part of the reason the system, my understanding of Urban Systems Committee going ahead and granting us the use of that money was this is a major, because we have an urban system in Torrington.
Correct.
Where you take traffic from the highway and you take it north and then on 30th and all the way up to the hospital and all the people that live up in the northwest area and the college and everything that's up there. That is a major artery I guess is what I would call it, East D Street. And I don't know if there's been, traffic counts literally done on that, but just by observation, that seems to me to be the busiest, or one of, if not the busiest streets in Torrington is East D.
I believe the state does traffic counts almost on an annual basis, I believe. And there's a map of all the federal aid urban system streets within the city of Torrington and within the county of Goshen. And to be eligible for the use of those funds, those streets or roads have to be on that system. So,
And East D is one
and
of
East
them.
D is one of them.
Okay. All right. And the other thing that's important with this project, I think, is I know just from being around here that those water lines are older than 50 years, most of them, on East D. I don't know how old they are, probably in the late 40s after World War II when they started building on East D. And they're smaller than they should be, and they've got, what's the term where it fills up with
Scale buildup.
scale
on the
buildup.
inside.
So if it's a 4-inch pipe, then it's probably potentially down to 2-inch, which affects the water pressure in those neighborhoods, which affects the homeowners, obviously, but affects the fire hydrants too, if you have low pressure in those areas. So,
Yeah, low pressure and low volume of flow.
and the new pipe will be 8-inch, I think,
8-inch PVC.
which should last for ever.
It's- Yeah, doesn't get the scale buildup that the iron pipes do.
All right, and again, I want to thank Urban Systems for paying attention to that issue and going ahead and allowing us to use those funds to sort of cap this thing off. We're almost there. I'll be quiet. Does council have any questions for Mr. Harkins?
Two, I guess. One would be kind of piggybacking on the mayor's question about the size of the water line, the size of the storm sewer. What size is it, and is it impacted by scale buildup as well, or are we just increasing its capacity?
We're just increasing its capacity. It's not affected by scale buildup because it's not flowing and doesn't have water in it all the time. It is definitely undersized. It's only an 18-inch diameter pipe. The new pipe is, I think, going to be 30 inches, and then it'll go up, proceed north, and then it'll neck down to a 24-inch pipe, go a distance further, and then neck down to an 18-inch pipe. It'll have all new catch basins at all the intersections. I think there's going to be a total of 32 new catch basins that'll connect to the sewer.
Is that a main storm sewer line that collects the avenues or the side streets?
It will collect water from the side streets that drain towards East D Street because of the catch basins that we're putting in. But I don't necessarily think that all side streets drain to East D Street. Some do, some necessarily don't.
And then I guess the final question I have maybe for the treasurer is, we're going to use our gas tax revenue to repay the loan, and I'm curious how long that will take. Do you have a forecast on that?
I think we're gonna try to do a 20-year loan, so we can spread out those payments as much as possible. That's what we talked about.
That's what we talked about. You can always pay it back sooner
Sure.
If we want to,
if you
but
want.
that way we have, the flexibility to maybe spend that tax money somewhere else.
Sure.
Any questions from other councilmen?
If we get these construction loans from the various agencies, will that keep us from getting any further construction loans at all?
We can only have one.
We only have one?
At a time.
One active one or one in a lifetime?
One active one
One active one.
at a time.
But over 20 years, that could change too.
You could.
And one,
We've never done this program before, so this is kind of new to us. But a lot of other entities have used it, and I think Les used it
Yeah.
for their projects.
Is there, Mr. Mayor, is there loan forgiveness on this program, or?
No.
And if everything lines up, then, Mr. Harkins, what's the expected start date for I know you don't have a crystal ball, but what's a reasonable anticipation for a start date?
We'll probably be advertising during the winter, which is typical, probably December, January, and then award the contract, and with construction potentially taking place as early as April or May of next year.
And then once it starts, what's the anticipated length of time it'll be under construction?
It'll probably have a substantial completion date of November 30th.
So we have to get all 4 of these loans in order to proceed with the project?
Well, the urban system's not a loan, that's a grant, basically. That's money that we don't have to repay back. The other loans, yes, we do have to get them, we don't have the funding within the city to do this project any other way.
And will we know the outcome of the applications altogether at one time?
Yes, the capital construction and the drinking water and clean water SRF projects will all be considered at the October 3rd SLIB meeting.
And if any one of them fails, it's done?
We're hoping that that's not the case, but potentially. We could, if the capital construction loan didn't get approved, we could possibly still go forward with the project. We'd have to maybe figure out something else. And ultimately, it all comes out on what the bids come in on the project. Hopefully, we've been pretty conservative in our estimate. Maybe we get lucky and, we can get, instead of a $7 million project, it turns out to be a $6.5 million project.
Any further questions for Mr. Harkins or Mrs. Strecker?
If there,
Councilman Victor?
no, Mr. Mayor, if there isn't any more, I would make a motion to approve the resolution number 2024-6 as presented.
I have a motion from Councilman Victorin to approve in item 2, resolution number 2024-6 as presented. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilman Deal. Any further discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, I'll call for vote. All those in favor of approving resolution number 2024-6 as set forth in the agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, signify by saying nay. Hearing no nays, that resolution in item 2 is approved. Next item on the agenda is ordinance on second reading, the 2025 fiscal year budget, and I would call on Mrs. Strecker.
Sylvia? Would you like me to read it?
I think
Yes.
he does need to read the resolution as well.
Oh, we didn't read the resolution.
Oh,
We should have we need to read the resolution by title. Normally, we do that, too.
okay. With consent of council, can we go back and ask Mr. Reddington to read the resolution by title?
Oh,
We neglected to do that.
certainly.
Would you read the resolution, Mr. Eddington, by title?
A resolution authorizing submission of a capital construction loan application to the State Loan and Investment Board on behalf of the governing board for the city of Torrington, Wyoming.
All right, thank you, Mr. Eddington, and that satisfies our deputy clerk.
I think I've done that twice now, Mr. Attorney, and I apologize.
No problem. I should have caught it.
All right, now, we are finished with item 2, and we are on to item 3, and I will kind of start over here. Item 3 is ordinance on second reading of 2025 fiscal year budget, and I would ask Mr. Eddington to read that ordinance by title.
It's an ordinance providing for the appropriation of money by the city of Torrington, Wyoming to meet its general fund requirements and obligations, to meet its enterprise fund requirements and obligations for the 2025 fiscal year commencing July 1, 2024, and fixing the sum to be raised by taxation.
Thank you, Mr. Eddington. So now I will call on Mrs. Strecker.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So attached to your agenda was the ordinance. The total budget at this time is $40,948,332. Just to kind of recap on our cash balances in each of the funds. The general fund balance at this time is $2,487,957. After transferring to the golf, airport, swimming pool, ambulance, and cemetery, that leaves a balance of $1,017,563. Last year, it was $914,000, so it's pretty close. The water fund's at $2,085,000, the sewer fund's at $1.3 million, the electric fund's at $4.4 million, and the sanitation fund balance is at $803,000. So our all funds budget balance right now is at $9.6 million. Our reserve targets for all funds is $7,941,000. So that kind of gives you a look at where we're sitting after all of our reserve targets are met, at $1,747,343. Still left, we're still working on our property and casualty insurance renewal. I did find, after going through it, we do need to add some money in for the Waterworth program. We just, our new subscription to that, we did not end up budgeting that in two of the funds, so I will be making that change after this meeting. I'd like to add back some fencing for sanitation. I still need to look at the final cash carryover. And I have not heard from IT on the final repair monies that can be given back to the city. So I was hoping to get those by tomorrow. I will be publishing our budget in the paper for the budget hearing to be held at the next council meeting. So all things are coming together. I may end up just budgeting an amount for the property insurance. We had a call with the agent today. He's still waiting on wind and hail. He hopes to know something by the end of the week. I did contact Wyoming Association of Risk Management, which allows for property tax coverage for Wyoming cities, towns, counties, and districts. And I gave them my information, and I asked for a quote. They did say that they've gotten a lot of requests because of private insurance is not giving them quotes, or they're pretty outrageous, so they're pretty busy. So we'll see if we can do that this year. If not, it's an option for next year. It is a little late in the year to be trying to get a last-minute quote, so. So other than that, I'm confident that it's going to increase significantly. I just don't know how much. So that's all I know for now, but I will keep you updated, and hopefully we'll have a final number by the third reading. If not, I will budget the highest quote I have right now, which is $300,000. So.
And this property casualty insurance issue is not just unique to Torrington, it's
Yeah,
on all over the
apparently.
state.
Yeah, talking to the gentleman at Warm, he seems to think it's consistent by the calls he's been getting from other cities and towns and counties. They're having a hard time renewing, and then our agent at Hub said the same thing. It's just been really hard to try to get quotes. No one wants to insure us.
And not just us, other municipalities.
Cities and towns, counties, governments, yes. So, but we'll get there. We may have to pay quite a bit, but I think we need it with our, we don't want to have our risk out there. We have a lot in property value and equipment and vehicles, and we need that catastrophic insurance coverage. The only good news is he said that cyber's been pretty flat, so we hope to get a good quote on cyber insurance.
And Wyoming, warm, right?
Yeah,
That's, in recent days, that's the first time I've heard of that entity. But I know Casper uses, you've told me Casper uses
yeah,
them.
there's several cities that use them, Cheyenne, Casper, I think Glen Rock was on there, Lusk. So it's probably not as good a coverage as we have here, and it has higher deductibles, but it could be,
It's worth looking into.
it's worth looking into at this point, I believe. So I'll keep you guys updated. But other than that, this is the budget for the second reading. And hopefully we'll get all this together within the next 2 weeks. But I'm pretty confident everything's going to balance. We're in good shape cash-wise, as you can see. So.
All right, gentlemen, any questions for Mrs. Stricker? I'll give you time.
As this ordinance is always a work in progress and it's not final form, I think we're in pretty good shape given where we are. So, having said that, I will move to approve the fiscal year 2025 budget on second reading.
All right, I have a motion from Councilman Patterson, item number 3, to approve on second reading the ordinance relating to the 2025 fiscal year budget. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second from Councilman Deal. Do we have any further discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, I will call for a vote. On the motion, all those in favor of approval on second reading, item number 3, the 2025 fiscal year budget, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, signify by saying nay.
Nay.
Okay, that was 4-1. So that ordinance passed on second reading. All right. Next item on the agenda is item number 4, approval of the bills from May 22nd, 24 through June 6th of 2024. And I would call on, again, Mrs. Stricker.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Attached to your agenda were a list of bills, and then handed out separately tonight was a second large list. Bills came in pretty heavy this afternoon.
On the list you handed out this evening, Mrs. Stricker,
Yes,
on page 9 down at the bottom, Torrington Sod Farms. Am I correct? That is for work done on the sports complex fields?
Soccer field, Mayor.
Soccer field. I didn't see Mr. Estes here. Okay, that was the soccer field?
They reseeded the soccer field last week. And fertilizer, we haven't picked it up.
And that field has been at rest this year, right?
Kind of along those same lines, Mr. Mayor, if I could, in
Sure.
question. I've noticed this bill before, and I've never really understood why, but we have a bill for porta pots for the sports complex. And I'm just curious, do we not open our restrooms up there anymore, or?
In the early spring, our restrooms aren't open yet because our water isn't on. So the soccer field wasn't up there this year, but we had to provide porta pots to the soccer field at the school,
Okay,
because we kind of moved them down there. And then we provide 2 porta pots up at the sports complex till the bathrooms get open. They're no longer there now. And this year, because our bathroom at the old Little League field was so old and ran down, that I just put 2 porta pots over there, and we just don't have the staff to clean them.
okay, I understand now, thank you.
On the first set of bills on page 3 for Floyd's Truck Center, for the Freightliner snowplow, that's what we budgeted last year, correct?
Yeah, that's a carryover item. We did get our snowplow, so,
And that includes the truck plus the plow, right?
yeah. And there's no snow now.
We ain't gonna snow for the next 10 years.
Knock on wood.
Sorry.
Now, if there are no more questions on the bills, I would make a motion to approve the bills as presented.
And I would second.
I have a motion from Councilman Kelly on item 4 to approve the bills as presented, and I have a second from Councilman Victor. Do I have any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval of the bills as set forth in item 4 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed signify by saying nay. Hearing no nays, those bills in item 4 are approved. Next item on the agenda is public comment. This is for questions and concerns by the public. And I would invite Fire Chief Luis Correa. I know he wants to address council. Welcome, Chief, and you may give us your report.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We've picked up quite a few things over the last couple of weeks. Quite a few days we had multiple calls. On the 22nd, we had a smoke check over by the prison area, as well as a grass fire on Road 45. A ditch was being burned and it was unsupervised. I got into some scrap lumber, and one of the neighbors was concerned about that. We had a call for a fire under the river bridge that got into some trees that we were able to get out, and before it got too far spread. We were called out for a barbecue grill on fire under an awning pretty close to a trailer house. On the 26th, we were called out for a mutual aid. Our dive team went out for an assistance at Packers Lake. On the 29th, we were called out for somebody called in an exposed gas line. The Black Hills Energy had contracted with a company that was boring in lines to replace or move gas meters closer to the house. Thankfully, this line that was hit by a road grader was stubbed off at both ends and was not hooked up to any natural gas. So We were also mutual aided to just north of Henry for a structure fire. I believe it was a welding shop that caught fire, and we were actually canceled when we got there, so we returned home after that. We had a few dumpster fires, one in a roll-off, one in an actual dumpster. The one in the dumpster we were never able to locate. It was called in by a passerby, and it's believed that one of the neighbors had put it out with water from their house. With the power outage that we had one fire alarm go off, and the alarm company was called us and told us that it was just a false alarm. It was due to the power outage we had. We were also paged out to a motor vehicle accident. A car hit another vehicle, I believe, and flipped it on its side on West C Street. And then we had another grass call west of town on Road 39G, I believe. And that's what we've had for calls.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Do you have any questions for the fire chief?
Seemed pretty busy, though.
Yeah, it's picked up, and with the warmer weather, I suspect it's going to get a little bit worse with burns and grass fires. So
I do have a question, Chief, and I wondered about I'm not sure what unit it is, but there's a unit that you mentioned had a transmission issue, I thought, and I just wondered of the status of that.
so yeah, that was actually a rural fire district vehicle, Rural 15. We did have it back for a while, but it went back. It had overheated on that call on 39G, so we took it back, and I believe they were working on it today. They were waiting on some parts, so hopefully we'll have that back tomorrow or the next day. As far as city vehicles go, we had engine 6 that had a water pump that needed replaced, and Goshen Diesel was able to fit us in pretty fast and get that swapped out. So
Water pump on the truck,
yeah.
not the engine, or
No, not the water pump for the engine on engine 6. Yes. Yep.
Clarification. All right, any further questions for the chief? Thank you, good report. I know you guys are busy, and you're greatly appreciated, so thank you.
Thank you.
All right, this is public comment time. Are there any members of the public out there who want to comment?
Mr. Mayor,
Or councilman?
if I could briefly, these last 2 weeks, I've been busy tearing out an old fence and replacing a new one, which is a bigger project than I probably should have taken on, but I finished it. What I wanted to point out, though, is that I loaded the old fence onto a flatbed trailer, hauled it to the landfill, and I had a couple of my grandsons with me, and they even commented about how clean and orderly and tidy that landfill is. And I think, if you haven't been out there, you ought to go out and take a look. But it's one of those things, I think it just doesn't get mentioned very often. People don't think about it, but we are so fortunate to have that facility, and it's very well run. And so I wanted to compliment Ed and Daryl Johnner for the work he does out there. It's very much appreciated. So.
Well, thank you for those comments, and on that end of the world, you don't get much
praise.
Thank you. But so thank you, Ed, and your staff. So thank you, Councilman. All right, any other takers for public comment? Or councilman? Seeing none, we have completed this agenda this evening. I thank everybody, and we are adjourned.